MatchBingo introduces Live Football Bingo, where events in every English Premier League game can win you prizes for a £1 card. And the fastest full house of the season is worth £20,000. Head to matchbingo.co.uk for more information. Over 18s only. Be gamble aware. Get yourself over to matchbingo.co.uk for more information.
Can't hear you, Matthew. Muted. What a great start to the show. Matt's frozen. Oh, this is dreadful.
Sunday evening
he's back.
edition. Oh, he's here. He's here.
You'd pause yourself.
Late.
Pause yourself and then you froze, man.
Fashionably late. How you doing?
Sort your
you
Wi-Fi.
right?
Sort your Wi-Fi out. It's shit.
Look, listen, I've got 200 meg running through this laptop.
Dreadful. Dreadful. You just froze and then you were paused as well.
Oh, good. Well, let's start again, shall we? Hello, everybody, and welcome to Talking Tower Towers. You've got the company of the hard truth this evening. The Gov is, well, he's been very, very high spirits, isn't he, Rich? And going out and having drinks, I think. So who knows where he might be.
That with Neil and Robbie D last night.
Yeah.
Get the Don. Get the Don back on the platform. Get the Don. Get him on.
Yeah. Making
anyway,
more,
look.
Making more signings for us.
Frank is in the chat, all the way from Holland.
Frank's here. How you doing, Frank? Good to have you here. And hello, Rung, your good lady wife. I hope you're watching
Tim
as well.
Brown. Do you remember Tim Brown, Matt, from the Collins book evening with his press-ups? He's froze again. This is dreadful. This is going to have to go. I'm going to have to go on my own. You keep freezing. This is not very successful when there's two of us. When there's two of us, this is terrible.
We have done this before, everybody.
I think you need to just disappear, Matt, and then come back. Oh, you're there again.
I'll tell you what. Rich, let's come out and come back.
Well, I'm here. I'm staying. You go. Anyway, good evening, everybody. Welcome to Talking Town. I'm the Cruncher, and it might be a solo show. By the looks of it, Martin is otherwise disposed tonight. So it's going to be me and Matt, but obviously Matt's got technical issues. So I'll do a bit of waffle. Hopefully everyone's good. Good evening to Ben Obbs in the chat, Stephen Parry, Phil Blundell, Dave Burgoyne, all the way from Ireland. Hope you're good. Anyone got any questions or anything? Just put some stuff in the chat, and then we can do it. But yeah, I played at Millwall on Friday, everybody. So little trip down to the Den on Friday morning. It's great getting to London, isn't it? It takes as long getting through London as it does to actually get down there. And
what is going on here?
Hello, Gov.
What is going on?
Well, Matt's disappeared and I'm on my own. Don't worry.
This is disgraceful.
Don't worry, I'm doing fine.
Disgraceful.
I'm doing fine. I'm going solo.
I would put the camera on, but my hair's not done, and it's trademarked. So Millwall, Friday. Tell me about Millwall. What happened? I hear you scored again.
I slotted a little penalty in, didn't I? Little penalty in, Gov.
Now, rumour has it, Rich, that it was a penalty that you grabbed the ball and refused to give back to anybody on your team to take. Is that right?
No, it's actually a penalty shootout, Gov. And
okay, fair enough.
Right. Slotted it to the keeper's left. Done him for pace. He went the right way. Slotted.
Did he?
So now did you know today it is 12 years ago today, Gov, since I scored at the North Stand End at Portman Road.
Has Aaron Drinnan ever done that?
Aaron Drinnan never scored at Portman Road. So I can actually say, and Sam Parkin. There you go.
One, Parkin it. What a front two that would be, Parkin and Drinnan. Good Lord.
How was your night out?
Yeah, very good, thank you. Yeah, the Don is in fine spirits, as is Mr. Neil Moles. It was a good evening. I am not nursing a hangover before that rumour gets circulated. But yeah, it was a good night. Thank you very much. So you're 12 years ago. Are you still in contact with the goalkeeper?
James Deacon.
Because you must have slipped him a £20.
He commented on my post on Twitter. He said, "Stop sharing it," because I always have a little laugh with him because he's.
Oh, is that who the goalkeeper is?
The thing is, right? The thing is, the lad who was playing, I can't remember what his name was. Number 30. He sped down the left. If anyone's on my Facebook, you can see it on there. He's gone down the left, and he should have squared it anyway. I'm there, 6 yards out, just past the ball. I would have tapped it. He takes a shot. James' little chocolate wrists. Palms it out, and the cruncher blasts it in. But we were about 25 minutes into the game, Gov, and I hadn't actually done anything. And if you listen to the commentary, you can hear Russell Osman, who was manager, says, "Welcome to the game, Rich," because it was probably about my third touch of the ball. Because I've absolutely done nothing.
While we wait for Matt Phillips and his hooky Wi-Fi, that obviously he's got from Dagenham Dave.
He tells us it's top speed, and it's absolutely shit.
Well, that's what Dagenham Dave down the pub told him. But anyway, Jerry Yates linked with us today. Yes or no for you? What are your thoughts on that?
I'm hearing 4 million.
Would you? Deal or no deal? Noel Edmonds style?
I think he's a good player. Would I pay 4 million for him? Probably not. You know, I think he'd score goals. Would he be prolific? Look, it all depends because we've all seen the majority of the signings under McKenna. That he's hello Matthew, are you back with us?
I'm back. I've plugged in a few different things. We've returned. Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear. I mean,
brilliant.
This is great.
And you're talking about Jerry Yates.
We are chatting about Jerry Yates.
Okay.
Would you?
I don't know too much about this because I've been in as you know, Rich, it's my son's birthday yesterday. Had my sister's belated birthday today. So I'm out.
Did he go yesterday? 8-year-olds.
8-year-olds. Yeah.
Was there any bloodshed like last year?
No. People who've been watching the show long term will know blood was shed at our party last year. Fortunately, it was like the octagon in the UFC. Fortunately, this time around, everything was okay. It all went off. We got the house back to normal about 9 o'clock.
Did you? Talking of that, did you watch the Katie Taylor fight last night?
I did. Very entertaining, and she got beat for the first time, didn't she?
Oh, I thought it was brilliant.
Yeah, it was very good. Very good advert for women's sport, regardless of.
I think a little bit. I've got a question for you. I know this is a football pod, but I've got a question for you about Katie Taylor. Yep. Do you think it took her an age, Matt, to get to the ring? She was soaking in the absolute. Do you think it got a little bit too much for her in them? The way she started the fight in them first 2 or 3 rounds.
Yeah, maybe.
I thought.
I was worried for her when that woman sung her in. She was singing in the wrong key for starters. Yeah, I think you'll see that. You'll see a rematch for that anyway, I think. But yeah, very good advert for women's sport, and she's still a great champion. And
anyway, look, I've got a new mug, by the way.
Yes, Kieran McKenna. Where did you get?
No, retro text. Give them a follow on Twitter. We done a competition. We had 3 to win. So this is the teletext mug. He does teletext mugs. So I don't know if anyone can see that. That is Ipswich 6, Exeter 0. And it's got the attendance, the teams. It's brilliant.
Good that.
And I've got another one with a Marcus Stewart. Marcus Stewart one from Wembley. Teletext was great.
See, did you go to CFAX or Teletext? Teletext was ITV's one, wasn't it?
Probably CFAX.
What did you go to?
I used to love the cricket scores. I'll come home from work and put 340 on. BBC. Our Essex getting on.
We've mentioned this before on the show, haven't we? Like, the internet has basically seen the demise of people like ourselves standing outside Curry's, looking at the TVs, waiting for them to roll around on the teletext pages. Load of blokes have been dragged out on Saturday afternoon shopping, trying to get the scores in.
On Saturday, and everyone's outside Dixon's or Curry's.
The last time I can remember doing that was when someone told me Norwich were losing 5-0 at half-time to Colchester United on the opening day of the season. Sprinted into Dixon's.
Ended 7-1. 7-1.
7-1. Great times. Could be coming again next season. Against our good selves. So am I right in thinking you just had the governor on? You located him?
The gov popped in, and I was actually, when you came in, we were just talking about my little trip to the den.
Oh well, yeah. Listen, I was thinking today. You now actually have a better professional record than Sam Parkin. Not only have you scored at the Den,
Right.
you've also scored at Portman Road. Now he managed the Den, but he couldn't manage Portman Road.
And everyone in the chat. So my mate Mickey, massive Millwall fan, and his son, they paid to hire the ground out for 3 hours with the bar. How much do you think it cost to hire out the pitch, the dressing rooms, and Harry's bar after the game?
Harry's bar. Who's the Harry's bar named after?
Colin will tell you in the chat. He used to.
Can't be Redknapp, can it?
No, he's a well-known Millwall player. And
they
even played when we come out of the dressing rooms. They play the song. Let them come, let them come, let them come. All come down to the Den, and they played it. Love it.
No thanks.
Then after we had the penalties, they played London Calling over the tunnel.
Like
so how much do you reckon? No, mine's £6,000. Lower than £6,000.
Lower than 6. Now I was going to say about 10.
No.
All right. I'll go 5.
Lower than a 5.
It's like play your cards right. It's with Brooks at them. 3?
£2,200.
That's not bad, that is it? Phil Blundell said 250 quid.
And I played 45 at centre half. I've done all right, and then my Achilles was I could feel it a little bit, and then I went off and I didn't come back on. I was quite happy to play 45. It was quite overcast. I was happy, Matt. When we took the penalties, the sun came out and it was bloody boiling. I'm thinking, I'm very glad that it was. There was a guy playing, right? There was a guy playing who'd had 3 heart attacks.
Oh my God!
And his
not
wife
in the same,
there.
not in the same 90 minutes of this match, presumably.
No, his wife was there, and she said, "I've got his spray in the bag just in case."
And a defibrillator on the back.
Brilliant day, and it's like I think we're going to do it again next year. He said he's going to do it next year, so yeah.
Is it a charity thing, or you just do it for a laugh?
No, because he done it for his 60th birthday. He had a surprise. They done it last year. They hired the ground out. He knew nothing about it. Turned up down there, and then there they all were. So he's done it again, and he's going to do it again next year. So brilliant.
Simon Harris says it's Harry Cripps, 400 appearances.
That's the one. That's Harry the guy.
Cripps. That's a good name. You don't get names like Cripps anymore, do you? The Cripper. Yeah. Oh, good. I'm pleased you had a good time. I thought it was a bold move that you decided to drive down there, knowing that you could get an injury and not be able to drive back.
Well, it was just one of them things.
Cramps up. Yeah. Well
no
done.
Cramps.
David Bergen.
No cramps. No cramps.
David Bergen, €10 in the pot. Thank you, David.
Again.
Appreciate it.
Did you watch the Sheffield Wednesday game, Matthew?
Yeah, annoyed me. How can you lose a 4-goal lead? I mean, it was beyond. What does everyone else think in the comments? It was beyond woeful.
I said to Colin, I had a funny feeling. I said I fancy Wednesday 3-0. If they scored early, I thought the way that we all know what Hills was like. Hills was lively. It's lively. It was 30,000 there. Peterbridge couldn't handle the pressure, could they, Matt? I thought the tactics were pretty shit. We all see. But look, last season we had people saying, "Oh yeah, sign Johnson Clark-Harris." I think we see in that game why you wouldn't go near him, because other than
won the goals away for one.
Other than scoring goals, he offers absolutely nothing.
No,
but
no. Your man was playing, wasn't he? Taylor.
Jack Taylor.
Yeah.
There's a few people on the socials. Oh, I wouldn't sign him. I'm thinking, well, what? Are you judging him on one game then?
It'd be harsh to judge him just on that one game rather than the hundreds that he's played or whatever it might be.
When we do our little players we're interested in, I've got another Peterborough player on my list.
Have you?
Other than Jack Taylor.
Interesting to know. Who's going to very quickly then, and tell us in the comments, who's going to win between Barnsley and Sheffield then? A South Yorkshire derby comes to London.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because Barnsley have done the double in the league over them. Won 2-0 at 2-0 Hillsborough, and obviously 4-2.
Yeah.
I think Wednesday now, after finishing on 96 points and coming third, after being 4-0 down, and after coming back now, I think they'll go up, Matt. I really do. And if we're being honest here, and I know there's been a lot of banter on the socials with Wednesday fans, and James, I've had a bit of banter with James, and I think Wednesday probably deserve it when you look at where they finished with 96 points, Matt. But who knows?
Is there an argument to say that was their cup final?
Well, it's like Clinton Morrison said. Clinton Morrison said they have to remember that there's another game to play. They've done haven't achieved anything, have they? It was brilliant. Look, that will probably go down as probably the greatest playoff game of all time. You know,
I suppose Darren Moore. Everyone universally likes Darren Moore, don't they? Yeah. Unless you're a Sheffield United fan, obviously. I was pleased for him. He's a really nice guy. If you've seen the video of them in the dressing rooms after, where the camera starts steaming up because it's so hot in there, he actually just says to them, "Remember, one more game to go."
Yeah,
it did feel like they'd already.
That. It was a little bit. Well, it wasn't, because look, the best game for me, one of the best games, is obviously the Bolton playoff game.
Well, they mentioned that, didn't they, in the thing? Yeah,
that was a great game, but
yeah, it's the Barnsley Bolton game. Yeah,
interesting when it was 90 plus 6 minutes, and then the referees played an extra 2. But I watched some of it back this morning, and Iorfa was down injured. I think he got cramp, and Will Norris was taking his time. So everyone needs to remember that 6 minutes it goes up. It's only the minimum. It's only a minimum of 6 minutes.
Yeah, always a minimum, that, isn't it? Yeah.
Will Norris, good shot stopper. Absolutely hopeless if you put the ball in the air in the box. He's like Dracula, isn't he? Afraid of crosses, Matt. Terrible.
Yeah. Imagine how bad we felt after the 4-4 at the Valley. And then you go up to Hillsborough with more than 1 foot in the playoff final. And you're coming home losing 5-1 on the night, wherever it was, on the Peds. That was a long journey, I should imagine.
That's football.
Yeah. Has D-Max said anything about it?
He's he released. I actually sent it to you. He done a little video today on the socials. It was the first time he spoke. That's 7 minutes. And he spoke honestly and said he was gutted. And I think they're going to go down the younger player route next season. He said, because they're posh. To be fair to them, their academy's absolutely flying this season. They've got some really good youngsters.
Been good, yeah.
So I think that's the way they'll go, and they'll probably look to move a couple out. Maybe 1 or 2 might come to town, Matt. You never know.
Who knows? Yeah. You weren't the only one who had some sporting endeavours this week. Today I was at the Rascal Bay in Chelmsford, where I did 18 holes on the what's it called? The golf thing. The fun golf thing. The crazy golf. Yeah, that thing, yeah. Notoriously, I'm always the winner. And I was defending my title today, and then I had a bit of a mare on the 18th where the skull and crossbones had the audacity to throw the ball back at me, spat it back at me 3 times. I did a 5, lost by 2 shots. Disappointing. The highs and lows of crazy golf, man.
I mean, great crazy golf.
Then we had a nice slice of red velvet cake after.
Very nice.
It was all right, yeah, very nice. Well, let's go back then to where we started before the internet. I pay a lot of money for this internet, by the way.
I mean, it's not the greatest, is it? When you're doing a 2-man show and the other guy's internet keeps freezing. I mean,
now
I could have done it alone. I could have done solo. I remember when I done the fixtures show a couple of years back. I done about 20 minutes.
Everybody. You did 20 minutes on his own. People should be thankful it was my internet that went down and not yours, Rich, because I would have lent for the guitar, done a few tunes, kill a bit of time.
What would you play? Would you took requests from the chat?
I would have done my own tunes, probably. Yeah. The viewings would have gone right down. Right. Wednesday. Was it second to none? George second to none.
George second to none was on. And he's on again this Wednesday.
Love that. George second to none. Very good. He's been on a few shows with me in the latter part of the season where I've drunk a lot of wine. I actually drank a lot of wine yesterday, but this was purely when I was drinking wine with George, it was celebratory.
The message I got yesterday morning was Lizzie's in charge. I might go and hide in the bathroom.
Yeah, she turned the organisation to kind of like the Apprentice meets. We've got to get the King's coronation over the line. It was those levels. So I had a few wines for medicinal rather than celebratory. But it was all good. Right, listen. With success. I've said this before, Rich. With success comes change, and George and the Gov were talking about players that could be departing. The first one on the list, I think, will come as no surprise. Keogh. What happens to him? Now, 36 years old, part of me, we did question that signing, didn't we? It was a weird one, wasn't it? Because they paid like a small 6-figure fee, bowl accounts, to Blackpool for him. But how many games did he play in the end? Did he get to double figures?
Played 4 league games, didn't he?
And a few cups.
But it's interesting, like all of the games, like home and away, he's there on the pitch before the game.
Yeah.
A lot of the time he's like been the extra, the 19th man, I think, like just in case someone
Yeah.
And he's doing a warm up. But then a lot of times he's travelled, he's just in his tracksuit, but he's always there. He's talking to Kieran, talking to Martin Pert, you know, the other coaches. So that has to be the role, Matt, that he's going to be assigned to, I would have thought. And I think that's probably like you. I think you touched on that when he signed, that was probably a view to, because he obviously started, didn't he, at Town as a youngster. You know, he's gone full circle.
Yeah, it's quite nice. That I quite like that.
And I still think, I know he didn't play a lot last year. I still think he played quite a big part off the pitch. You know, in the dressing room, he's got that experience. He's got that know-how. I'll be really surprised if he wasn't moved into the coaching. It's interesting though. I thought it was the third Saturday in May when the retained list has to be out. So obviously,
don't know. Weird that, isn't it?
I'd expect it. I think it'll be really, really early this week. I thought.
Absolutely.
We'll see who's staying and who's going. But Keogh. He won't be. He definitely won't be playing. But I think he'll probably go into the coaching staff. I would have thought.
We're going to concentrate on our players tonight, everyone, as defenders. So people are agreeing with you. What have we got here? Steve Parry says, we said from the off it was a view to a coaching role. Well, he's good friends because he played a lot of matches, hundreds of matches, I would imagine, at Derby with Lee Grant.
Yeah.
And he came to us out of the blue, didn't he? Albeit someone who'd been weirdly, ended his career at Manchester United as like the third choice keeper, wherever it was. Yeah,
he's obviously got aspirations. He wants to get into, I think he wants to get into management. So obviously, look, he knew Kieran, didn't he? And like, you did think it a little bit strange, didn't you, when he came and he was the attacking coach? But
I did think that was weird.
101 goals.
Yeah. So, I'm not eating humble pie for that one. I've done that already.
Something's been going on there, and he's been getting something right.
Yeah, absolutely. You know? I still find it funny that we scored nearly 50% of those goals in those last 15 games. What was it? 47 goals?
Well, it's raining goals, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's raining goals.
Literally.
Yeah, absolutely. Ben Hobbs says Lee Grant was living with Keogh last year. So there you go. I think that speaks volumes, doesn't it? And Ben Moore, coaching role for Keogh, nailed on, I think. All right. So that's him sorted then. We'll see him in the dugout next season, I would have thought. Now, what about Janoy Danassian? 29 years old. The Renaissance man, we like to call him, because he had these come in, didn't he? As part of Paul Hurst's short-lived revolution, then get shipped out by Lambert. What loan spells did he do? He went back to Accrington. He went Fleetwood for a bit as well, didn't he?
Yeah, he went to Fleetwood as well.
He
was on his way out, wasn't he? You have to, tip your hat to him for what he's done, and he's just really reliable. He's a really good professional. JD.
We all liked him last season, didn't we? When I say last season, I'm talking not the one just ended. You know, I mean, look, he was basically second to Wes Burns' Player of the Year, wasn't he? Last season.
Some people would have said he was Player of the Year. Obviously, Burns. He's always the player who gets the goals, Matt. You know.
Yeah, and he's a bit more of a fair flair player, isn't he, Wesley? But, I mean, look, those two kind of combined last season down that right flank, didn't they? But what's your thinking of JD? Does he come on the journey with you? Is he going to the championship?
He's signed that year extension, isn't he?
He has done a year. Yeah, you're right.
So he had that 12-month option.
Yeah,
which I think they were always going to trigger that. I think they were always going to trigger it. They'll probably be looking who else is about, because I think as you go up, like you said, Matt, you have to evolve. Harry Clark, he's probably going to be first choice, but he's still got a lot of learning to do. He's quite raw.
Not on the first day of the season, he won't be.
No, he'll be sitting in the stands with us.
Yeah,
he'll be tested a lot more. But look, he played 20 odd games for Stoke.
Yes,
but I've not got to worry about Clark going forward. I think he's really good attacking. This is how these players are nowadays. You know, front foot, getting forward.
Yeah,
defensively with him is where he'll be tested, and I think there's a few things he can improve on. And this is where I think JD probably comes in, Matt, because we've seen these games when, like Derby, for instance, away, I think 60 odd minutes, Clark goes off, JD comes on, because JD's a better defender than Clark. I think most people would agree with me on that. Going forward, Clark's much better, but I think defensively, Danassian is. I think he's a better defender. I think he stays. I've got a few right backs. Well, no, hang on. I've only got one right back. I've got some left backs on the list.
Rich, let's come to those. Let's go through the little list here, then we'll come to these potentials. The fisherman agrees with you. He says keep JD. Perfect to come on for Clark, and we've seen that pretty as you just alluded to. Rich,
I think so.
In matches, Ben Moore says JD. Sell for me as harsh as it may sound, but not everyone comes on this journey. Peter Foy, keep Tenascion. So there you go. I think Peter's a toss of a coin on this one. I don't feel like he's ever let us down. It's whether or not we think he's going to be good enough to play against Championship sides.
With him, he's 29 now, isn't he? I think he's signed that, obviously, that 12 months. I think up to January, I think he'll be here. That's when you might look at it. Into January, when he's got like 6 months left on his contract, you could move him on for like a nominal fee. And then you might look to get someone else in. But to start with, I think, look, Tenascion's not let anybody down. You know, he's been excellent for Kieran, and he's deserved that 12-month extension. And I think he comes on the journey with me to January, and then I think it's just to see where we are. Look, Harry Clark might get an injury, Matt, early on in the season.
Oh, another red card.
You just don't know. You just don't know. He's good backup. JD's good backup. He's reliable. You know, and he's obviously only him and Caden Jackson that are left from the relegation.
Yeah.
You know?
He's played under four managers. He's played under four managers, hasn't he?
I think it's just a case of just wait and see. But I think up to January, I think he'll be there. And then we might revisit in January and see where we're heading then. But for me, up to then, it's a yes for me.
We've said about Clark, haven't we? He's an erratic character. And it was a ludicrous red card, wasn't it? As McKenna said himself, 2 really poor tackles, 2 fouls, 2 yellows. He's going to miss the opening day of the season. So I think, you know, with Kieran being quite a straight-laced conservative character, certainly that's how he comes across in the media. I just wonder sometimes if Clark might be too erratic for him, and that's why he likes Tenascion, because he's this kind of safe pair of hands. He was like almost like a McCarthy-esque kind of figure, isn't he? He had these. That's why we signed Douglas.
Said about Harry Clark, and I love his enthusiasm. I love the game when he played. Was it Accrington, Matt, when he made his own debut, and he crunched someone, didn't he? Crunched someone in the halfway line, and it'd be interesting to see when he plays in the derby. Obviously, he's a town lad.
Yeah,
you know that is.
I think you Paul Lambert vibes here.
That's an atmosphere that you've got to keep your emotions.
In check.
Controlled that day. He needs to learn. He's young. He's young. You know, he's got a red
22.
card. He's got a red card at Fleetwood. So what? You know, that's probably his first red card of his career. So he'll improve. Kieran and the staff. Kieran improves every single player, and I've got no doubt that Harry Clark going forward, potential Ipswich captain. I said that when he made his debut that night. From what I see, there's nothing to me that's made me change my mind. You know, because he's got the enthusiasm, he's got the passion, he's town through and through. But look, we all have to control our emotions in different walks of life, you know. And on the pitch, he'll know that. He was a bit rash against Fleetwood when it was a nothing game, wasn't it? Really, it was just. But this is football, you know. This is football, and sometimes your emotions just get away from you. But he'll learn from that.
Yeah, that's a good point you make about Carride. Bean Frank says, I agree, Rich. I think Janoy Tenascion is well worth his place in the squad. And Ben tells us it was actually Morecambe was his home debut. All these kind of thumpings, the thrashings we dealt out in the last 15 games, or whatever it was, kind of merge into one. Well, let's watch the space with that one. Now, one of my favourites. What's everyone thinking here? Greg Lee, signed as the first left back by McKenna, wasn't he, in the summer? And I do. And then income, I'd seen quite a bit of him for Aberdeen, weirdly, just on like sports scene and that on the BBC. Always quite liked it. Never thought he'd be an Ipswich player because we got him on a free. And then, of course, Leaf comes in, doesn't he, and kind of cements that place for himself. Martin made quite a good point. I don't know if he made that point on the Wednesday show or in our WhatsApp or possibly both. Even though you got 2 left backs there, they're very different players, aren't they? As we've seen with this season, Rich, with like Leaf's assists and the which have all come from set pieces. Whereupon Greg Lee always looks like a centre half to me. You can just play left back. What's your thoughts on Greg Lee? Does he come on the journey? Or is League One his kind of ceiling?
Because he obviously came in that game against Derby. Didn't really get over the halfway line. I would be looking to upgrade there. I know
Would
that
you?
there won't be many people agree with me. He's done very well, but I think League One's his level. If you look at how old is he, Greg Lee?
28, I think. 28.
Yeah, that's League One and League Two is where he's played.
Mm.
You know, so
And the Scottish Premier League, but we don't know where that sits within the sphere of English football.
I've got I've got 4 left backs that I'd look at are on. From the Championship, they're available on free transfers. So I'll be looking, but whoever it is, and this is where probably Greg Lee probably does fit in. Whoever comes in, they're playing second fiddle to Leif Davis. You know?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And people look well, again, a little bit split, I suppose, here. Bean Frank says, Greg Lee is a very good player. He's technically good and physically strong and has to stay, in my view, but not Kane Vincent Young. He will go for sure. It'll be that untapped potential was Kane. We'll never see it now. Shame. David Bergen, keep Greg Lee 100%. The Fisherman says Lee stays. Tim's 7159. It's a funny surname, isn't it?
That's Tim
Brilliant
Brown.
alternative for Leaf. Colin says good player. Roy Clark, Greg Lee, definitely keep for me. See, are we all just a little bit invested in some of these players? Not looking at it
We're going to be
kind of
because
thing, you know.
They've achieved something, but
yeah,
I think Lewis Robertson hit the nail on the other week. Like, not everyone is coming on this journey, you know, and we're going to have to say there's going to be some probably. We'll come on to a Luongo soon. There's going to probably be some hard decisions to make, Matt, and in football, you just have to be ruthless. If we want to get where we're going to want to be, there's going to be some harsh decisions, and we've got to be ruthless, you know. And that's just the way it is. I'm afraid this is football at a high level now. That we're not talking about scraping around at the bottom of the Championship and into League One and free transfers and Ollie Hawkins and all that. We're going the other way now, so we can afford to be ruthless.
By the way, Ollie Hawkins featured in the list that just missed out on the top 50 Football League players. He had a very good season at Mansfield Bowl ago. Fair play to him. That's probably his level, right? Wasn't really up for town. Yeah, absolutely. It's interesting, isn't it? See, what you're saying then, would you rather have a backup for Leaf, as in someone who brings the attributes that Leaf does? Because Greg Lee's got completely different attributes, hasn't he? As Colin says, good in the air.
It depends, isn't it? Because if he's just playing the odd game here and there, that works, you know.
Yeah.
But if Leif Davis gets, say, an injury and he's got to miss 2 or 3 months, then your team, you're going to suffer because you've not got a like-for-like replacement, have you, really?
Yeah. Agreed with that. What's your space on that one? Mine hasn't got this guy on the list, but as you mentioned, Lewis, his good friend Matt Penny, he's going to be out the door. He should go to Motherwell, right? They loved him there.
He done well, didn't he? And then he went to Charlton, and then some Charlton fans said he was one of the worst players ever to play for him. Probably a bit harsh.
Yeah. Again, going back to Scottish football.
T-shirt. Frank loves my T-shirt. Here we go.
Frank says, "Hey, Rick, Stereophonics T-shirt, handbags and glad rags. Shout out Rod Stewart is one of our favourite songs, and their version was far better than Rod Stewart's soulless attempt at that. Was truly dreadful." Frank, what are you talking about?
Did you know that Rod Stewart's had to stop kicking balls into the crowd at his concerts?
Because of potential being sued.
Well, no, it hit someone he knew in the face and broke his glasses. So now he's just got some women, some girls just throwing them in. He just used to blast them into the crowd. Keep your eye on the ball at all times. That is what they used to say.
I was at the Paul Monroe show. I'm a big fan of Rod and the Faces. He's done that for years. The Faces used to kick him into the crowd as well. He's done it for years. But so let's see health and safety now. Yeah, health and safety is a big thing. Yeah, I think you should expect a football to hit you in the face if you're going to a rock show. I mean, listen, if you go to a festival, you might get a bottle of piss in the face.
Oh, there you go.
Some of them stadium shows you've been to. Well, watch that bottle coming over.
What's that got in it? No, that's not apple juice.
Yeah, that ain't Lucasade. Yeah. All right. Here's another one's going to divide opinion. What happens to George Edmondson, affectionately known as the Fridge? This is a guy who's finished both the last 2 seasons at town. Injured. Now, I know people like him and he does the coffee club and he's a good character and he's been on co-coms a few times on iFollow. I think he's been very good at that. And
my left backs will be revealed soon. Don't worry. We're coming
on. We're going. We ain't going. No, we no need to rush everybody.
George Edmondson. Now, it's it's interesting because when players are playing, everyone you're in the spotlight, and everyone's like, when they're out on the sidelines and injured, everyone sort of forgets about them, don't they?
Yes.
He's got the potential, I think, to play in the Championship. He played there for Derby.
He did.
We see, didn't we? We see when he played against Burnley, Matt, in that FA Cup game.
Yeah.
You know, he can bring the ball out. He can pass.
As did Greg Lee, to be fair. He played that game.
But it's like you say, he's had 2 injuries. He's ended both seasons injured.
Annoying. For us and for him.
Yeah. He needs a good pre-season and he needs to stay fully fit. If he can stay fully fit, I think he's an asset. You know.
Peter Fay says Edmonton is strong and good defender, but he's going to leave, I feel. He's had a few injuries. Of course, people need to know that, you know, that the people want to sign someone who's been a bit injury prone. Ain't going to be a secret. He's missed the last.
Well, Simon Harris says Fridge is better than Burgess when fit. Now, I agree with Simon here. I as Gov would say, he's got a high ceiling.
Yeah.
I would look to bring in another defender anyway, whatever happens, even if Edmondson stays or he goes. I'd bring in a high quality defender. I wouldn't just be bringing in anybody. I've got.
Well, we're going to see your list in a minute.
Right? Who's a little bit. He's very highly rated, and he probably might go to the Premier League. But I think Town should be pushing the boat out, and we've got the money. So this lad, he's a really, really good player. And
so what are you saying about Fridge then? Are you? Did you say you're keeping Fridge in the squad?
I'm keeping him. Because
unless someone comes in with a bid, obviously. We paid about 800 for him, didn't we?
Yeah, I think you need 4 centre backs. So Fridge, Burgess, Wolfie. Now, Corey and Darber's on your list.
He is another person I think you're not going to see again.
Not good enough. Move him out. Right. Elkin Baggott, is he on your list, Matt?
Well, Mike spoke about him as returning as a lone player. Remember, we're talking about defenders here, everyone, this evening. We'll get to midfielders next week, most likely. Weird one. I mean, look, he had a few games at the tail end of the season before, didn't he? But I think everyone thought he would go out on loan, didn't they? I would have kept him. I would have kept.
He's done all right at Gillingham. He was doing all right there, and I know you said get him away from Gillingham. He's playing at the bottom of League 2.
Yeah, that's a bad atmosphere to be in for a young player.
He was playing there, and he was one of their better players because they were really struggling. And then they had a takeover, and obviously he moved, and then he went to Cheltenham, didn't he?
Yeah, well, he doesn't play at all.
Hardly played, and this is where when you get a move for a younger player, and I know we spoke about Cameron Humphreys last week. You know, it all depends for me. It has to be the right club for them, Matt, because they need to go there and they need to learn. And they need to, if they're learning, they have to be playing. You know, it's no good just going to another club and sitting in the stands and playing for their 23s and whatever. That's a waste of time. They might as well stay at Town. At least they can train under McKenna.
Also, you know? you're in a culture. All right, it's more of a comfort zone with your home comforts, right? Yeah, the training ground. If you do go, my thing was like you go to Gillingham, alien environment. It's not going very well. There's probably a lot of shit going on behind the scenes. You don't want to lose your optimism and motivation as a young player to come back to Ipswich with having that on your shoulders a little bit.
He was playing there and he's learning. And sometimes you need
that. Beaten as well.
Yeah, but you need he's one of their best players, but you need that to, it ain't always going to go your way. You've got to be tough.
True.
You've got to get hardened up. It's like when Dobra was at Town and he went to Colchester and we all said,
Ludicrous.
Why did he go there? Really bad move. Luke Wolfenden, on the other hand, he went to Swindon, didn't he? Played a full season for Swindon, and that really benefited him. And that's where I think Baggott, I think he needs to go out and play a full season, Matt, in League One and be playing week in, week out.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that, actually. Now we've gone to the Championship, I do agree with that. I mean, he's a little bit different, isn't he, to the norm, as Frank says there. You know, he's representing Indonesia. He's playing international games. He's already a bit of a household name over there, isn't he? With his social media presence. And, you know, I don't think Indonesia's the hugest hotbed of football in the world, but the fact that if you could be a breakout player over there, then, you know, you've got something about you. Well, he's going to be one for the future. But in Derby, you're not saying he's one for the future in a blue shirt.
No, because I think he's probably going to get lost in the shuffle. You know, where does he fit in? He probably, like you said, he didn't have a great pre-season, did he? Played in that game at Palace.
Yeah, he looked awful in that. Oh, all right, it's against Palace. I get that, but
Went to Burton on loan. Was a bit unlucky because he was injured and he didn't play a lot. Then he went to Fleetwood and he played a little bit there. But I think his age as well, Corey and Darby, these players, Matt, if they're not going to be playing for Town, go and make a career somewhere and go and play something. I've said it before now, like a Tom Eastman when he left Town, he went to Colchester and he played over 400 games and he's had a decent career.
Ditto, Matt Bloomfield. What was it? One appearance at Town, which you saw, and then how many at Wickham? 600?
600. This is there's so many young players nowadays, and there's so many players. When you look at the minute, you look at the list of like released players, Matt. There's going to be hundreds of players without a club, going into the new season.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
So if you're a young player and you're at Town, and then you've had a good schooling and you've come through the academy, and you probably want to play for Town, but it's like El Mazzuni as well in the chat there. He's another one. He's had a really good loan spell at Leyton Orient. Yeah, is he really going to come back and make the breakthrough? He's played in League Two last year, let's not remember, and Town are in the Championship now. That's a massive leap. And for me,
it is.
I can't see. He needs to go and play. He's another one. Go and sign for Orient or sign for another League One club and make a career for yourself. He won't be at Town. Won't be at Town.
As soon as I walked into the gym yesterday, we got an Orient fan in our boxing fitness class. He said to me, "How much do you want for him? How much is he going to cost?" He's been fantastic for us. He's played like the Morsey role for them, I think. He hasn't got a goal in him particularly, but he's been like we said, Morsey was the glue a little bit. I think he's been the same. But we'll talk about midfielders next week, won't we? I think we'll get to that then. All right, we've done our defenders. Mine wanted us to cover a couple of players. One is a midfielder, Massimo Luongo. He's here. He's there. Is he staying next season?
I've got
next week.
I've got a funny feeling that he ain't going to sign. I don't think we're going to sign him. And Stephen Parry, he was on the Discord, a little rumour that he wants to go back to Australia.
Okay, interesting. Well, why not? It's better weather.
But
see your career out there.
He came in and we all thought, well, that's a bit of a weird signing.
Did seem weird at the time, didn't it? Someone who's not played
at all. He won 13 out of 15 games. Didn't lose a game when he was in the team. If it was down to me, I'd sign him for a year. But
yeah, me too. Yeah,
no more.
I've liked him.
And you need to realise that him and Morsey, they're not getting any younger, Matt. In that midfield, they're not going to be playing. They're not going to be playing 46 games Saturday, Tuesday. Morsey might.
32, Morsey? Was he 33 now?
No, I think he's 31.
Okay. I'm aging him.
But I think you need some younger legs in that midfield. When you look at, obviously, you look at Lee Evans. Well, he's pushing nearly 30. Don Ball, and we'll come on to midfield next week. So
yeah, we will.
I'd
like to keep him, but you think he's going?
I'd like to keep him, but I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't sign. And if he doesn't sign, this is the thing we just have to accept, and we have to trust.
Yeah,
Mark Ashton and Kieran and his backroom staff, because they know what's best for the club. We've all got our ideas and this player and that player, but I would sign him. I think he'd be a good foil for, obviously, James Reed says there, Jack Taylor. I would be amazed. I know we're going to talk about midfielders next week. I'll be amazed, Matt, if Town don't sign Jack Taylor after. And I had people saying, but we were in League One then. But hang on, we were chasing him all January. So obviously we rated him then. And we thought we were going to get promoted to the Championship. And he's 24. He's 24. And I've seen him play, and I think he's a McKenna player. And McKenna rates him. And look, Kieran's the one at the end of the day. If he rates somebody, we've all just got to just go with it. So,
absolutely.
I think Taylor signs, and then we'll just have to see, because we've got a lot of midfielders, and they're not all going to stay.
But we'll chat more on that next week, everyone, when we get to midfielders. Multitude of options there in midfield, haven't we? And of course, Hurst, loan signing. Leicester looking the shit right now, don't they? So they've played 36, the second from bottom. They're on 30 points. Leeds just above them. So they've got a game in hand. I think it's Newcastle tomorrow night. I'm expecting a huge fire sale at Leicester. Players, Tielemans out of contract, I think. Huge players, Vardy on huge wages, probably going to be.
They're knackered, aren't they? They're down, Matt.
So they're going down, right? Bit of a shame, really, because I really enjoyed their fairy tale season under one of my favourite ever managers, Ranieri. So, do we sign Hurst, or do they keep him and build a strike force around him next season?
I don't think Leicester, if they go down, which I think they will, I don't think they're putting all their eggs in the George Hurst basket after seeing what happened when he went to Blackburn.
True.
Because there was rumours that Blackburn, if it worked out for him there, he could have gone for 5 million.
Do you get worried thinking that it didn't work out for him at Blackburn? He didn't score any goals. He barely completed the 90 minutes. He's done well at League One level for Town and Portsmouth, actually. Is there a worry there that you're spending 2-3 million on someone who's actually already had a little bit of a shot at the Championship? Didn't do anything.
But I think it's all. I think he might have found his home at Town.
Hopefully.
And I think he's obviously the way that we play. I think it suits his style, Matt. I really do. I think he's a McKenna player.
Yeah.
And obviously Kieran was interested in last summer, wasn't he? He wanted him then, couldn't get him. Got him in January. So
yeah.
But I see Phil Blundell saying he reckons Leicester will keep him. I can't see Leicester getting relegated, putting all their eggs in George Hurst basket to fire him back to the Premier League. I don't think they will, because they'll have some money to spend, Matt. I know they'll have to have a fire sale of players, obviously, if they go down, which I expect them to. But I still think they'll be able to attract some good players, Leicester.
I'm not sure what the ins and outs are, but I think if you look at some of their loans or something, and if you look at if you're on Twitter and you go on the Kieran Maguire, here's Kieran Maguire, financial guy. I think they've even loaned against money they thought they were getting from Sky in Premier League in future years. So I do feel like they're up the creek without a paddle at the moment. Tim says, "Are you in bed, Matt?" Rich, how many times do I have to keep asking him? Tim, I'm not in bed. I'm in my kitchen. This is what's known as like them boots you get in diners.
Saturday.
Yeah, I've got more class than to appear in bed on a podcast. Or maybe I will do that one time. We might have to wait and see. But no, I'm in my kitchen, okay? I'm in my kitchen. All right, listen, we've teased it a little bit, haven't we? We've teased it a little bit. Your little list of potential signings. I've got some as well.
I've got a big list.
You've got we always like it when Rich does some research, because he always does it with a pen in his pad. It's good. All right then. So give me how many have I got here? I've got 4 here. So let's go back and forth over 5 players.
Do you want to go centre backs first?
Yeah, go on then. Who have you got? If you're now manager of Ipswich Town and you're advising Ashton and McKenna, who would you be looking at?
Well, I've got 2 from League One, and the rest are players who they're out of contract. They'll be released. So
but before we start here, Rich, everyone in the comments, put your players in. We'll read them out. And do you agree with Rich and me? Phil Blundell says Matt looks like he's in a restaurant booth. Exactly, Phil. That's the vibe we were going for. If he was around my house, you'd get it. Go on then. Who's your first? This is a bold move, League One. We've tried this before in the Championship. Paul Hurst, remember?
This lad's class. This lad's class. And Posh have turned down, according to Darren McAntony.
Oh, right. Okay.
They turned down 8 million for this lad.
From who?
Crystal Palace. I think it was Crystal Palace.
Oh, right. Okay.
Ronnie Edwards.
Yes. Yeah, Colin likes him. And I hope you're feeling okay, Colin. I've kept in touch with you today.
Colin only likes him because I bloody told him the other day.
Well, he's following the sense, isn't he? It's what people do. What do you like about this kid? What do you like?
Look, he's contracted till June 25. 20 years of age. He's played for England under 20s. He missed some games last year because he was away with England under 20s. So look, he's highly rated. 40 games, 1 goal. He's 20 years old, Matt. He's only going to get this is where I know he'll cost quite a lot of money if we're going to sign him. Well, I think he'll probably go to the Premier League, if I'm being honest. Yeah. I think that's probably where he will head.
Well, would he start? That's a good question. You can go to the Premier League. Are you going to start in the Premier League? That's a different matter, isn't it?
True. There could be where Palace or whoever sign him, and then they probably loan him out.
Yeah.
Because they're probably loaning to the Championship to get some experience.
Yeah.
But I think with his age, 20 years of age, he's only going to get better. Now, we've got money to spend. Yeah. We've got money to spend. Now, he would be my first target. Over to you.
You ain't spending 8 mil for him, though, are you?
Probably not.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay. All right. That's a good one. Who else have we got here? Let's have a look. This is what people are saying. Rob Holmes likes Mads Anderson at Barnsley. I think he's their captain, isn't he? Anderson.
Well, he's my other one from League One. He's my other one. I've
Okay.
got.
Okay. Well, let's go with that one then, as we've now mentioned him. You obviously saw him in the flesh at Oakwell when we beat them 3-0, but I think he's a bit of a talisman for them, isn't he?
Yeah, I've got a mate who supports Barnsley who I work with, and he said he was. I think he missed the Peterborough game, and he said when they played in the playoffs against Bolton, he said if he's fit, we'll get through. Now he made League One Team of the Year. He was obviously their captain. I know George Hurst too strong for him, wasn't he, on that goal? That was the one when he held him off Matt from the halfway. But
yeah.
Look, he's not underrated. 25. He has extended his contract till June 24. So I suppose a lot depends there if Barnsley got promoted. Because if Barnsley got promoted, he'll probably will stay. I would thought.
Yeah, especially
not,
as he's well loved as a fan favourite. Yeah, but if not, could be a deal there, I suppose.
Yeah, possibly.
Probably.
So they're the two that would cost the money. The other ones I've gone for, I've looked at who's been released from the Championship. So there's some I've got 3 centre backs from the Championship who've been released who we could look at, but who knows?
Not sure.
What about you? What have you got on your little list?
Well, I have got a little list. Well, but listen, Phil Blunder says I can't see Cashin leaving Derby. We know Martin's been sold in on Cashin for about the last 12 months. They should have a better season next season. Craig from Portsmouth, I'd want Bell from Luton if they don't go up young with pace and versatile. Rob Holmes, Mads Anderson, of course. Anyone else here? Yes, Ben Moore agrees. Ronnie Edwards and Erin Cashin. Well, listen, I've gone for a player who's actually out of contract this summer in the Premier League, but I'm expecting him to sign an extension. But it's Jan-Paul van Heck from Brighton. He's Dutch. He's 22. He's 6'2". He's been around the periphery of Brighton's team. I think he played in that 4-1 where they lost at Newcastle. He's only done 6 Premier League appearances for them, but he's done 31 appearances for Blackburn in 21-22. I just think he's a player that would, again, you talk about these kind of McKenna players. You know, Brighton likes to play a similar style to us in terms of passing the ball around. And
shout out Brighton, Matt. Qualified for Europe today.
Success. Yeah, great success.
Yeah.
Again, that's a team I think that's a team, you know, it annoys me a little bit because we're miles bigger than them, but a team like Brighton, like a Brentford, a team that we can probably try and emulate in this 21st century. But yeah, I really like him. And I think he wants to break into that Brighton side. So, I mean, who are their centre-backs? Adam Webster, Lewis Dunk. I mean, Lewis Dunk's not getting any younger, is he? So he might have an eye on that position. And he did say he didn't really want to go out on loan again. But who knows? I feel like that's someone who could fit into the town. Look, he's playing good. They play good passing football at Brighton, and we're doing exactly the same. So Jan-Paul van Heck is one that could come in. And I was thinking today about a centre-back that could replace Keogh. So you've got this elder statesman role. Because don't forget, McKenna said, Keogh, like you said, Reg, he's only played 4 games. He's played a huge role behind the scenes. And we got linked with him a couple of seasons ago. He's leaving Luton. Sonny Bradley. He's only 31.
Yeah, I think we're putting 2 and 2 together there and making 5 because that was under Paul Cook.
Under Cookie, wasn't he?
He was.
But if you look at our back line, so Leaf's 23, Wolfie's 24, Clark's 22, and Burgess is 27. That's, you know, Burgess is the elder statesman there, right? And he's only ever played League One. Whereupon Bradley has done like 175 appearances for Luton. He actually did 100 appearances for Plymouth. Now, whether or not got still a bit of love for home park, I don't know. That could be. But the fact was that Luton said they were releasing him after, I think, 5 years. And I looked at some of the comments on Twitter about that, and someone said, Sonny played a huge part in our journey. Because they've gone from like League Two, haven't they, to the Championship playoffs in, 4 years or something? Something ridiculous like that. He is a great player, a rock, 100% human being, no ego, no tantrums, embodies everything that's good about our club. And I feel that probably ticks the boxes for, you know, that kind of Keogh elder statesman role. Are you going to get him on a free as well? But it just worries me that Leaf is 23, like I say, Wolf 24, Clark 22. There's some youngsters in there, and we still got, there's a question mark over Burgess, there's a question mark over Edmondson, and he's a left-sided player. I don't know what people agree with that, but I don't know. He just seems to fit that kind of like, you know, you're talking about someone who can be a presence around the dressing room, the training ground, can be that presence in the community that's so dear to Ashton and McKenna. But that was very. The rumours what had it. It was very close, wasn't it, Rich? When Cook tried to get him in, but
I think he was really close to signing. He reminds me, he'd be like not quite as old. Your Tony Mowbray signing when we signed him.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, big shout out Tony Mowbray. He said that we're going to be a threat next season. I can see Ipswich being up there. People see the Arizona dollar, don't they?
He might be getting the poke from Sunderland. I've never heard anything so ridiculous.
Who are you going to get in instead that's better than Tony Mowbray in the Championship? Well, he could still be an Ipswich manager one day, Tony. Okay, let's move on to. Do you want to do some right backs? You got some right backs on that list?
I've got three more centre backs. They're all frees. So you got Jake Cooper from Millwall.
Yeah,
he's nice. 28. He played 46 games, 3 goals, 3 assists. 309 career appearances. He scored 25 goals, so he knows where the goal is. Danny McNamara, age 24. He's a centre back as well from Millwall. He's on a free, and you'll probably know this lad. He was at Chelsea. Thomas Callas.
Okay, yeah. Where's he been then?
Well, he's at Bristol City now. He's
okay.
Chelsea, Borough, Fulham, Bristol City. He's only 30, Matt. Seems to have been around for a long time.
His place has been around forever, yeah. Absolutely.
And I'm probably thinking with him as well, he's probably an Ashton signing.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, don't discount that. Yeah, going back for previous Ashton signings. Could well see that, yeah. Yeah, I do agree with that.
That's just I'll just look to who is available on the Championship list.
Okay.
But Mike Brown, I'm only looking. We've all got opinions. I'm not saying we're signing these players, Mike. I'm just saying these players are available.
Yeah, options. These are just options. Phil Blundell says, could sign Aidan Flint from Wednesday. He was a substitute, wasn't he?
No, thank you. No, thanks. Slow as a cart horse.
Yeah. Big physical presence, though. Well, listen, with my right back, having seen what Luongo did and as a returning loan player, I've gone for exactly the same model here. Callum Connolly from Blackpool, where he's been club captain. Still, you talk about people who have been around for ages. Still only 25.
I liked him when he was at town.
Yeah. 100. Again, this comes back down to a safe pair of hands. 150 champ appearances, 34 worth for town, of course. Was it the Everton 21s with Broadhead?
Yeah, he was there.
So there's a connection. What I like about Callum Connolly, I think he's probably done 156 career appearances. I think he was. I saw on the stats. What I like about him is rarely injured, very rarely injured. And what does the Gov always say? Your availability is your best ability. I think he'd be really good in our right back role. And he's not a bit of a loose cannon like Harry Clark. I think he's probably an upgrade from Janoy, and obviously 4 years younger. But I thought I think he scored 4 or 5 goals in his first spell. Would have been 17-18 with McCarthy's last season, wasn't it?
Yeah,
I think we got him.
He still played in midfield, didn't he, when he was at town?
Again, he gives you that utility option. Yeah, he played defensive midfield, but he can play centre back, and he can. But I think he does prefer right back. And Frank says here, Callum Connolly was a good player. I liked him at town. It would be nice to see him back. So he's now dropping down, still in contract as captain of Blackpool into League One. Could you do a deal, Rich? Could you swap Janoy Danastian out for Callum Connolly and bring him into the Championship that way? And again, you're sending Janoy back to Northwest, where he's got roots and lived there and played there. But yeah, I just feel like Connolly could be. He's someone I feel like could probably be a leader for McKenna. Again, we talk Sonny Bradley. There's a leader for you. You want voices on the pitch, and I think Connolly could bring that. I'd be all in on that. I would really like that and see how he can dovetail with whoever plays on that right side, be it Burns or somebody else.
I've got a good left back. I've got a good
Go
left
on,
back.
Let's move on to your left backs. Yep, go for it.
So this lad, he is a Republic of Ireland international. He was Swansea's Player of the Year.
I'll go on
this season.
Yeah,
5 goals, 10 assists. He created more chances than any other Championship player.
Wow.
Ryan Manning.
Like it.
Good player.
Like that.
26. The only problem here is, right, he wouldn't be an understudy to Davis. He'd be a first choice.
He's first choice, that, isn't he? I mean, look, he ticks the box for being a Davis-style player. But yeah, one of those two is going to have to sit on the bench. But I mean, that's a great return, isn't it? 10 assists. Are we thinking he takes their corners and set pieces, or are we thinking they was from open play? Have to look that
But
in. Have to look
see
into
Swansea, they're going to lose their manager. He's off to Southampton, isn't he?
that.
Russell Martin.
Southampton. Yeah, absolutely. They finished mid-table, did they not, Swansea? They weren't in and around the playoffs, were they?
They finished really strongly. They had a good end to the season. They were always just a little bit sort of
Yeah, behind the curve a little bit, weren't they?
But it's probably disappointing for Swansea because you're probably thinking you've had not a bad end to the season, and now you're going to have to look for another manager. You know, it's that merry-go-round. Then you get someone else comes in, and obviously he's going to have fresh ideas. Where Russell Martin's been there, that was his second season, and you're thinking you're probably building something. But look, that's just how football works, isn't it? But Ryan Manning, good player. Someone in the Championship will pick him up, Matt, and he'll be playing in their first team, no doubt.
Yeah, he don't hang around very often for long, does he? Martin,
No.
He was at MK Dons for about 5 minutes.
So you know Aidan, who we've had on from MK, he calls him the snake. He's a bit of a snake, isn't he?
Good guy, Hayden, yeah. He's Hayden, the MK Dons fan who was originally Wimbledon, the old Vinnie Jones Wimbledon, and he went to MK Dons rather than AFC, didn't he? Yeah, no, he knows his stuff. He's a good guy. That's okay. Oh, anyone else you've got on that little list? I mean, that's a great shout, but you would think that he'd be a replacement for Davies rather than be dovetailing that position with him.
I've got an ex-Man United left back, Tyler Blackett.
Ooh. Yes, where's it now? He was at Reading. Is he still?
Yeah,
is that
Bristol
where he's
City.
been?
Bristol City.
Okay.
Yeah, he played for England at all levels, apart from senior, ex-United.
Yeah.
And he played in the MLS for FC Cincinnati, man.
Did he? Blimey, and how old is he?
29.
Wow. Okay, so that's an experienced head. He's played on both sides of the Atlantic, so that's someone who can bring. I mean, you'd have thought that would McKenna have crossed paths with him? I don't know. But again, that's an experienced head to bring in the side. Again, though, would he be looking for first team football?
Couple of experienced left backs. You got Jack Robinson at Sheffield United.
Yeah,
he's been around a bit. He's only 29. You know, he's been Liverpool, Blackpool, QPR, Huddersfield, Forest, obviously Sheffield United last season.
Yeah,
got promoted. Like and then I've got I like this lad, but he's 33 now, so we're not going to touch him. Joe Bennett.
Oh, where's he from?
So he's Borough, Villa, Brighton.
Yeah.
Cardiff, he was decent.
Yeah, that's it. Cardiff.
He was a winger. He's played over 350 career games. So, look, these are not these. I don't want everyone in the chat to think that we're going to be signing all these players. This is just Martin said pick a few names out, and I'll just add a look.
Yeah.
Just a few names to chat about. We probably won't sign none of these players.
Yeah, we're just causing a little bit of debate. Frank says, "Can he see your tattoo, Rich?" Frank, where were you last week? We showed it then. Come on, Rich. Can we see it? Can we get it in there?
Hang on.
Oh, it's a bit difficult in the lights. There it is. There it is. On the inside of the forearm there. Very good. Very good. All right. Well, I've got a couple in here. One was sat on the bench at Portman Road this year, but I don't think got on, was Ian Matson at Burnley, Dutch player, on loan at Burnley from Chelsea, where he's been there since a kid, but clearly he's not going to shift Chilwell and whoever the other left back might be there. But he did 39 appearances for Burnley, 4 goals, 6 assists, loves to tackle, 8 yellows, bordering on Morsey levels, and 1 red card. So it'd be interesting to see if Burnley decide they want to take, has he got the experience that they want to go into and cement their place in the Premier League, or do they decide to go with another option and sign somebody else? Therefore, he goes back to Chelsea. I think he did like 40 odd games for Coventry on a loan. So he's had plenty of experience around the Championship. So again, it comes back to your other point earlier, Rich. That's probably someone who you're bringing in as a first team player rather than as an understudy. And that's the difficulty we've got. You know, if you were talking about an understudy to Walton, who wants to play understudy? You know, you want competition for those places, don't you?
Yeah,
I mean, he would tick the box for me, but I don't think he'd sit on the bench.
When we get to the midfield and that, you might be looking at players who are going to push. But I think, like, this is where I'm saying Greg Lee's probably your ideal player, Matt, he knows what his role is at the club.
Yes.
You know, and he's good to come in and
he's called
play.
That, I think.
Drop a hat. Like say at Derby. He hadn't played for since Burnley in the Cup. Did he play in that?
Yeah, that's right.
He hadn't played for 2 or 3 months, and he came in. He didn't let you down, and he played in that game. So that's probably where we are with that. Because, like I say, if you're signing like a Ryan Manning at 26, he's probably going to be expecting to play first team football. And
yeah, it's a difficult one.
With Leif Davis at his age, he's only going to get better with just playing and playing at a higher level. So
Yeah.
certain type of player in certain positions, it's like we'll quickly touch on. We did. I think George and Martin did talk about the goalkeepers on Wednesday.
Yeah, with Hladky. Now, is Hladky happy to stay as deputy because that's his role? But I think he's good enough to play first team at any League One side, quite frankly.
But it depends, because he probably deserves to play first team football somewhere. But
yeah, he does. Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah.
Is he happy playing understudy at Town?
You know, who knows? I mean, again, you never know. Yeah.
He'll obviously play the cup games. He'll know that he'll play the cup games, but realistically, he knows Christian Walton's number one. It's like when we had Richard Wright, and you had a lot of sort of understudies there who were never really going to play. We had like Lee. Do you remember Lee Bracey, Matt?
I'd say, yeah. And what's his face? Brannigan. Remember Brannigan?
Yeah, they knew their roles. And I think goalkeepers, if you're looking for an understudy, I think it's you can always pick up a goalkeeper if you need.
Well, Josh Partridge makes a good reference here. He thinks Hladky's leaving and says Coleman was signed as the understudy next season. I mean, he's someone who's played. I think it's Joel Coleman, isn't it? He's played in the Premier League, isn't he? I think a few appearances in the Premier League.
Yeah.
It's a difficult one, isn't it?
The goalkeeper in the week, didn't we? That New Zealand lad.
Yeah, interesting. 20 years old.
Yeah, he's on a 2-year contract, professional. So
yeah. Who knows what might happen with him? I had one other left back in the kind of veteran mould as we finish off now. Paul Dummett at Newcastle, 32 in September. Can play left back, can play centre back. Highly thought of, well liked in the dressing room. Hasn't hardly played over the last 2 seasons. Had a calf injury in 21-22, and then just been the fact that Newcastle have been flying this year. It's been on the periphery of the team, but again, brings you someone who's 200 appearances for Newcastle in the Premier League, played for Wales. Again, he brings some experience to this championship squad. But these, Rich, are just, as you say, just some of the names we've floated out there for people to listen to and think on and see what happens. All right, we're there, Rich. We've done 1 hour and 7.
I don't know. I think Martin is back on Wednesday.
He's back on Wednesday with George second to none.
Me and Martin are off to Manchester on Tuesday.
Yes, you are. Just to let you know, everyone, we've been invited to the PFA. Is it Player Awards? Is it Content
Virtue
Player
Motors.
Awards? Yeah. Martin was there last year. He wants to rub the nose of that guy from Wigan's face, doesn't he? But I don't think he's going to be invited. Having been,
they're going to be there, Wigan. They've had 4 points. Was it 4 points they've had off next season already?
Yeah.
I mean, starting on -4. I mean, what is going on at that football club? I mean,
I know. It's mental.
But yeah, I think they will be going over midfielders and I think strikers.
All right. Okay. Well, we'll be looking at those next week. As Matt mentioned, John Lakindi gets his Mike D. Well, if strikers are being mentioned, Big John will get a mention next week.
He's not on the release list. He's staying at Colchester. John Lakindi.
We've got to pay a fee. Unbelievable.
Might see it pre-season because I think probably Town will probably play Colchester. I'd have thought, Matt. Do you think?
Yeah. Probably.
Off to Austria. I think they're off to Austria.
Yes, off to Austria. They wanted to do that last season, didn't they? They ended up at Loughborough, was it? Loughborough?
Yeah, because of COVID. And I think they're going to go to Austria and then no friendlies at Portman Road because of the pitch.
Because of the pitch.
First fixture will be away. They've requested. So, but they wanted to request the first 2 Saturdays, but I think they can only request 1. So,
I hope they do the 2 first Saturdays because I've got to go to a birthday party on that second Saturday.
Wow.
All right, we're there. Well, me and Rich will see you next week. Make sure you tune in with George and the Gov Wednesday. Enjoy your week. Think on some of those players we've mentioned tonight, and we'll see you next time. All the best, everybody. See you later.
Martin, press that button. We're still live, you know. We are still live. We are still live. Keep talking until he cuts us off. Oh, Matt, you did say 2 minutes. Where's he gone?
Where's he gone? Right, let's leave the studio, Rich. Come on, let's go. Let's go and get a cup of tea. We'll see you later, everybody.
Until he's... What are you clicking out? Oh, all right. Right. We'll see you next week, guys. Back on Wednesday, Gov and second to none, George.
You make me smile when I think of you. If I